Hello, 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 good afternoon. Happy Sunday, everyone. Sunday is just gone 4 p.m. where I am in the universe. I hope you're all doing well. Hope you had/having a nice weekend. It's all going swimmingly. Try not to think about that if you're in this time zone, that the weekend is ticking away. But there's still time to have dinner. There's still time for a Sunday roast. So, first proper Sunday roast of the season. Weather's getting much cooler, though it's not too bad today. So while it's cooling off, I think let's do a roast. I've got stuff already happening. I've got a gammon, that is a cured pork joint, for those of you not in the UK. It's not very common outside the UK. That is just simmering away in water, a leek, a carrot, bay leaves and peppercorns. That's going to take about 3 hours, so therefore I had that on about an hour ago. I'm imagining I'm going to eat around 6:30. I hope we can all stick around for the majority of that. It will be nice, so we'll see how it all goes. Let's just have a quick flick around all the stuff, make sure everything's working. Looks like everything's working. Okay, good. So as I said, I've already got gammon doing its thing. I've got some water on the boil. My oven is on. My oven is on about 200°C. That's about 400°F. So, if you're experienced with making roast dinners, good. Glad to see you. I think I'm going to crank this up just a bit. Bear with me a second. That's better. Kept losing the top of my head. So let's give this a little whirl. So, just going to calm that down. So yeah, I'm starting with the potatoes. Depending on the meat you're using, let's get a decent knife. Depending on the meat you're using, I tend to do the potatoes first. The gammon's an exception in this case because it takes 3 hours, but it just sits away in the background doing its thing. It's really difficult to overcook gammon. Let's just pop this little guy on. So I start with the potatoes because they need at least a few minutes prep, 10 minutes in the... Sorry, I meant to do this. Let's try that again. That's better. At least 10 minutes simmering and then best part of an hour in the oven. So I get those going first and everything else can fit around it. If you're having a chicken, I tend to put chicken in half an hour earlier. Beef often takes less than an hour depending on exactly what cut you're making, you're cooking with. Those smaller, tougher cuts can be done quite quick, can take a long time, sorry, and those fattier, juicier cuts, your 4 rib of beef, you know, the really good ones, the expensive ones, they can be done a bit quicker. You know, often 45 minutes for a nice 4 rib of beef. Some of you might be watching thinking, he peels one potato, then he chops one potato. Well, potatoes come in all sorts of sizes, right? So that one was huge, and this one is like the size of a flattened tennis ball. So I tend to peel one as I go and have a look at what I've got. I'm only cooking a roast for 3 people today, so I don't need loads and loads, but little leftovers, no bad thing. So I just want to chop as I go, see what's going on. I've just thought of something. think the YouTube stream was set to not public, which is helpful, isn't it? So missing the top end of that. I think that means we are missing notifications. So we might not have loads of people in, but let's hope there's some people milling about. One more, I think, will do nicely. I wonder if this is worth restarting. So I've got there my potatoes. I can look at that on the board and think about sort of portioning that into three with 1 or 2 or 3 left over. Always a good idea. I wonder if I should. There we go. Hopefully that sent out some notifications to people. Yes, I think it was set to private. So just pause for a second, have some tea. Yes, the question of should I carry on and hope people find us through natural discovery? I think let's just plough on, let's go for it. Yeah, so I'm just going to salt this water. I think you should salt potato water quite heavily. I think it adds the flavour. Let's switch to this now. Not that, like that. Cool. All over the place today. So yeah, I've just salted the water. Now I'm going to add the potatoes in. Chuck that in there. They're going to simmer. Now some people like to just gently parboil their potatoes. I like to take them quite a long way. We'll talk about that in a sec. Let's get them on. Get that down there. Lovely. Hello, Mrs. Handy. Wonderful to see you. Very pleased to host you in my stream today. Yes, doing all right. I think I just messed up the YouTube stream. I think it's okay now. I think. Yes. Yeah, so we were talking about potatoes. So the potatoes we've got going on, some people say you should just lightly simmer potatoes. I prefer a much heavier boil, nearly 10 minutes till they're really, really tender. You have to be more gentle with them, but it means the edges are softer, able to get a bit crispier, a bit crunchier, and depends what you're in roast potatoes for, right? But I think they're to be crunchy. Let me get rid of this cloth because I feel like a wally holding it. Obviously you've seen the name of the channel, Big Spud. Big Spud is one of the reasons I made my name with a roast potato recipe that did all right on the internet 15 years ago. So it's getting on a bit. I took the methods of Jamie Oliver, Heston Blumenthal and some other things beside and sort of bundled them all together to figure out what the best recipe would be for roast potatoes. But it's so personal, right? What you want out of a roast potato. Just making sure this camera's going to come on. Yeah, it's super personal, right? What you want out of a roast potato. I like them golden, really crunchy, and loads of flavours in there, extra flavours, maybe some herbs if I can be bothered to go and grab some from the fridge, a little bit of garlic, but you know, lots of soft pillowiness in the middle. You want a good vehicle for gravy, don't you? So this is my tin I've used for years for potatoes. It's really thick and heavy. I think it was from Tesco. It's very old. I could probably replace it. So there are ways to get roast potatoes that aren't terribly bad for you. But this ain't it today, okay? This is all out. You've got to have lots of fat. So I'm going to make sure there is a coating of oil across the entire pan. So now there's a film of oil across that. As I said earlier, my oven is on 200 and looks like it's nearly up to temperature. So I'm just going to pop this in there to heat up. So it's going to get, the phrase I use is wibbly hot, like really, really hot. So you can see the wibbling, shimmering heat coming off it. Mrs. Handy, what are you doing today? Are you going live later, I see from your schedule? Is that right? What will you be doing? If you follow my streams, you'll know there's often a bit of rummaging that goes on as I remember something I need. And what I need is my big old colander to drain the potatoes shortly. That's going over there. Let's do it that way round for a minute. Marry me sausage pie. So I've heard this trend of marry me pastas and the like. I did do a recipe that was called marry me. It was very tasty. But what's a marry me sausage pie? Is it tomatoey? This is of course my Yorkshire tin. I prefer to use a muffin tin because you get those deep rises, which is again what I want out of a Yorkshire, those big voluminous things, as opposed to those little shallow fairy cake type tins. Daniel E, good to see you. How are you doing today? How are things your side of the pond? All okay, I hope. Mrs. Handy says the sausage pie is straight from TikTok. It sounds like a TikTok recipe. This is going to be good. I hope so. I mean, I've made a lot of roasts in my life, as you can see from my profile. I've made a lot of roast dinners, and of course eaten them. So what are we doing here? This is a tiny amount of oil going into each base of these. So yeah, we've got a little puddle at the bottom of each, and that's again going to go in an oven. And I've luckily got a second oven, because you don't want Yorkshire puddings. You don't want to be opening and closing the oven for Yorkshire puddings because they collapse, and you want that nice puffiness. So it's a good idea, if you can do it, have them separate, cook them in a separate oven or a separate method. Mrs. Handy says, should have sun-dried tomatoes and cream in a sausage. I really can't visualise this dish. I'll have to check it out later. I just can't. And when you say pie, what's making the pie element? Is it a full pastry job? Is it more of a shepherd's pie with a mash topping? What are we talking about? I just can't visualise this at all. Daniel says, brining a pork loin. Well, we've got gammon today. That's what's cooking over the back there. So that's just simmering away. Gammon, I don't believe you have in the States. Whenever I bring it up, American viewers go, it's a pork leg joint that is cured. It's raw, you can't eat it yet. So like bacon, okay? So it's like a large joint of bacon, but it hasn't been cooked, so you can't really eat it raw. It is handy. So this bizarre sausage and tomato and cream pie is going to be topped with puff pastry hearts if you can find your cutter. Otherwise you're going to do it by hand, yeah? Just score it out beautifully with a knife. Let me pop this in the oven to get that heating up. So that's been set to an oven that's like, we can switch back now. Set to an oven that's like 210, 220, so when it's really hot, because that creates that spring in the Yorkshire puddings as the cold batter, which I made this morning because you really need to let it rest. So that cold batter will just bounce up out of nowhere as the heat and the air tries to escape from that Yorkshire pudding. The hot base of the pan causes a rise. There's a lot of good science in that, I am sure. Right, simmering away. Daniel, can I ask you a crazy question? Did you get a notification for this stream? I'd be really interested to know if you got a notification, because I messed something up at the beginning and most of the YouTube viewers wouldn't have seen the very beginning. No fancy knife work, eh? I'll get quite warm here. It's very grey outside here in my corner of the world, in the eastern part of England, but it's 16 degrees, but it's been 18 today, which is odd. It doesn't look like it. It looks like 10 degrees out there. Let's have a little prod of the potatoes. Mrs. Handy, you said you were AFK for a while, so you could have missed it. I think we're having parallel conversations here. I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. It's good to see you all the same. I was just saying how if you can't find your cutter, you're going to use a knife. Cut them all fancy. So it's pure fluke you're here, Daniel. That's all. Thank you very much for the information. That's really useful to know. Not accidentally, I left the stream. They call it unlisted. So it's available, but you need to know where to go to watch it, if that makes sense. So, yeah. This is handy. Notifications. Oh yeah, I was talking to Daniel, another guy. This is a problem when I've got YouTube and Twitch simultaneously. You can't see each other's chat messages. You can combine chat messages. I'll be with you in one sec. You can combine chat messages, but Twitch in particular doesn't like it. It's like, no, you can't do this. So, yeah. Right, so, clatter. We've got potatoes started. They're about 3/4 done, I would say. I don't know how long they've been on, 6, 7 minutes. They're nearly there. Just let them drain off. I've got, the gammon is doing its thing. The Yorkshire pudding batter I made this morning because, yeah, I think it works best if you give it time to rest. You can just make it straight away. Just eggs, flour, milk, just in the fridge, waiting. Gonna do some veg, do some carrots and some Brussels sprouts because we're entering Brussels sprouts time of year. Criminally underrated vegetable. I'm going to do some stuffing, and I'm going to use Tesco's own sage and onion stuffing. It's not the chefy way to make it, but I love this stuff. I think it's a nostalgia thing for me. Right, I'm just padding slightly because I want the potatoes to be finished before I start the next bit. So I think I'm going to make a crumble in a minute, and I'm going to get out a handy gadget to do that for me. But I don't want to be halfway through doing it and have to stop while I sort out these potatoes, so let's give them a check. They are super close. Give me like another minute or two. I'll show you one in a minute. How they're getting on. I need like 5 cameras in this kitchen. I could do with one over here, so you can see what's going on. I could do with one at the oven as well, so again I could show you what's going on in the oven. Daniel, what's going on with that pork loin? What are you doing with it later? You like your barbecue, don't you? So you're going to smoke it or something? Great question for the Yorkshire puddings, Daniel. What fat am I using? That was just olive oil. I've tried all sorts of things in the past, and I just like the clean flavour of olive oil for Yorkshire puddings. There's so much going on a traditional style UK roast, and everybody's got their own idea of what a UK roast is, by the way, so, you know. But because you've got gravies, you've got meat, you've got all sorts going on, I prefer just to have a clean, light flavoured olive oil for that. Let it do its own thing. The Yorkshire really is tasty, but it's a vehicle for other things. My phone's going bananas, pinging away. Right, just toss it in the oven. Just give it a roast, yeah? Has it got some fat attached to that pork loin? Achoo! So I'm just going to bring a potato over so you can have a look. Let's do that. So there's a potato. Let's get my knife in the right place. There's a tiny bit of resistance. It falls off the knife though, and that's the most important thing. Not as much as I'd like. You can always do what they call in the trade barding, which is where you strap more fat to it. Strap more fat to the, you know, layer slices of bacon on top. Get more fat in there, get it in there. Or don't, and your doctor will thank me. Right, let's get these drained off. I'm going to let them sit for a couple of minutes. Handle's a tiny bit hot, so let's not have any accidents on stream. I could, might go viral. Lovely. So they're going to sit there doing their thing, and in the meantime I just want to let them steam out. You want to get that water out of the potatoes before roasting, and forcing that water out, letting it just steam in my sink over there. Steam, steam, steam. The excess water means you haven't got the oven doing that, which is preventing them from crusting over. Right, I'm going to get a gadget out, more rummaging. It's the Kitchen Whiz Pro. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Long-time fans of the stream and my videos will know I get the Kitchen Whiz Pro out whenever I can. It's amazing. Though I'm starting to wonder whether it needs replacing. Chucky Bloodstorm, hey, hey, hey yourself. Welcome in. What are you up to this Sunday? Thank you for joining us over on Twitch. I always like to have a click around, make sure everything's behaving itself. Yeah, looks good. So this is a great little blade that comes with this food processor. It's an adjustable blade. Just about see that, which has got measurements underneath, so you can set how thick or thin you're going to slice stuff. What is this for, you ask? Well, I'm going to do an apple crumble. I've forgotten a piece for the machine. Let's just go and get that. I have, just outside that window over there actually, I have a apple tree given to me by a PR firm randomly about 12 years ago. And it makes these beautiful apples called Cirsa, which I've never heard of before, never seen anywhere else. Let me show you one actually before we get run. Oh, I've got to do some peeling, so I don't even know why I'm getting so snappy with doing that. Chucky Bloodstorm says, wee fella's birthday today, so just home from Comic-Con, chill time now. Happy birthday to the little dude. How old are they? Which Comic-Con is that? Where are we? We're not quite the London one yet. The London one's in October sometime usually. So these are these Cirsa apples. They're from my garden, so they're completely imperfect. You know, you'll find bumps and blemishes, little weird things. I've got about half of them off the tree that I could be bothered. They're just off camera because I'm running out of space. But let's start peeling some apples. And I will drop them. I'm going to work fast. I don't care about miscolouring them. Let's just get all this set up so we are ready to go. Set my blade at about 2mm. Ooh, let's go a little thicker actually. Just our local town one, big one was in September in Glasgow. Okay. Yeah, I'm only really aware of the London one, the XL, that takes place in, I think, October and April, twice yearly. I've never been, for no reason other than once it happens, I go, oh yeah, I should go to that. I just forget. So I'm just going to peel up some apples, bring the dish nearby to make life easier in a minute. Well, I hope you had a good time. Did you get any photo ops? Did you see anything cool while you were there? Now look at this. I've peeled that. Look at the flesh of this apple. In fact, why don't I'm just going to rinse that off because I've cut potatoes with that. Let me show you this apple. They are mad. Look at the colour of those. Beautiful. Now I've cut it that way, I can't really put that in the crumble easily. So I'm just going to chew on it. It's quite sharp sour. So it works really well in baking because you're going to add sugar and butter and all other good stuff to it. I'm just looking for my apple corer. Where can it be? Here it is. Yeah, no, I've never seen an apple like this, Daniel. It shows to show you what supermarkets don't bother to give you. It's quite sharp. It's a bit sweet. I would say Granny Smith, but I think I've read that the Granny Smiths in the UK and the US are quite different. But in the UK, the Granny Smith is quite sharp and acidic. It's tasty. Otherwise, I wouldn't be using it. So, let's core this out first. Excuse me eating. Chucky says, a few cool things, got a rubber duck of Chucky. That's quite funny. Rubber ducky Chucky, indeed. Hilarious. Rubber ducky Chucky. These are quite small as well. If you look in my hand, I have got quite large hands, but these are small apples. So I'm going to have to do quite a few. Makes your fingers all red as well, a bit like when you work with beetroot. Oh, this one's all soft in the middle. This is the downside of ones from home. Ugh, it's all yucky in there. No, abandon that one. Oh, that's better. Maybe two more. See how we go. Boom, 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 boom. Ooh. You lean towards tart apples. Well, you know, this would work, but I've never, ever, ever, ever seen these apples anywhere else. Let's just wash my hands off. That'll be for snacking as we go along. Pop these to one side so they don't make a mess. We'll come back to these in a minute. I just want to put the potatoes in the oven. Get those on. So what time is that? 4:35. It's a touch early actually. So I'm going to hold fire for a minute before putting them in. I'm going to carry on with the apples. I thought it was later than it was. So let's crack on with these. Just peel these boys. Which tool are you referring to, Daniel? The corer, dirt cheap. Like, go in any cheap shop, what would you call it? A dollar store over there. Not at all. I mean, there's this thing going around. I think it was started by, oh, I can't remember his name. A really well-dressed guy, American, who does a lot of food stuff. I think he's a bit retro. He did stuff in the 90s and 2000s. He says, oh, don't get single-use gadgets. I couldn't disagree more. A single-use gadget that does things really good. I think they save so much time, like the corer, like you say. I've got a gadget that slices and spears up pineapples and turns it into rings in seconds. It's just like, I don't use it on anything else, but it's terrific. Prepping a pineapple takes me ages. I just stick it in this spiraling type dude. Pulls the whole pineapple out in rings. Just a couple more to peel and then I can put them in my baking dish. Then we'll make the crumble topping and that can be just kind of sat on the side while everything else goes on. Chucky asks if he can share my Twitch link in Discord. That would be amazing, Chucky. Please do. Very happy to welcome people, as long as they're nice people. Hope you're not sharing it in Internet Trolls Anonymous. But no, that would be lovely. Please go ahead. If people want to watch a grown man peel apples, they are very welcome to join us. All are welcome. As long as they're nice. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, Twitch, I'm trying to make a play for. Lovely Mrs. Handy is always promoting my cause, and bless her for that. It's just a bit of a grind these early days in particular. You know, YouTube is all right, but Twitch is early going. And Phil is in. Phil says, lots of right tools are a bit than one does badly. A wise man indeed. Good to see you, Phil. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope all is well. Right, let's make some noise with this machine. That's why I love that machine, because it does stuff like that without even thinking. Slightly off camera, isn't it? But oh, you've gone in a grumpy mood. Oh dear. Let's try that. No. Job done. Ooh. Load of apples. Now obviously they're going to be baked, so they can be any old shape really, because by the time you serve it up, it's a big wallop on your plate, isn't it? Let's get all the bits out, see what we've got. There we go. Look at the colour of those. It's crazy, isn't it? It looks insane. And I think I'm going to amp it up as well in just a second. So I've just remembered something I've got in the freezer. So I've sort of 2/3 filled this. In the words of George Clooney, I think we need one more, so let's get one more. Go. Let's do one more apple. Which variety? So I was saying earlier, Phil, this is a variety called Cirsa, which I've never seen in the shops, but many, many years ago, I think about 11, 12 years ago, I was sent an actual apple tree by a PR company. It was tiny, a little sapling, and now it's 8, 9 feet tall, just outside my window there. And it just produces these incredible red fruits. Really, really striking. It's a very sharp flavour, quite acidic, but still very pleasant. You know, it doesn't make your mouth pucker. You know, it's a very crisp, tart apple. Right, let's just do the one more. There we go. Pop that back there. Bring that back over. Do 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 do. Do do do. A few pips have crept in there, but so me. I just want to get all these bits out because I'm going to carry on using this food processor. I've never seen it either, Phil. This is the only one I've ever seen. I don't know why. Well, I don't know why they're not commercial, because I think some people would look at that and go, "Wow, aren't they interesting?" You know, even if they didn't taste nice, I think people would have them just because they're kind of cool looking. Maybe it's a really difficult apple to get a load of yield off. I don't really know. The big nasty blade of doom for the next bit. So to that, I'm just going to add a small splash of water. And after cleaning my hands, I'm going to get some of the freezer, which is over here. Can't remember why, I picked up some frozen cherries in the week. Just felt like it. So I'm going to add a few cherries as well. Go mad. How underrated is frozen fruit? It's good stuff. Well, let's have one. Let's have one cold. Nice. Right, pop that. Oh dear, that apple juice is making a mess. Pop that behind me for a minute. And let's make some crumble. Ba, 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 ba. Just having a look. One of my little bits of software is having a bad day. Let's have a look. 132, 132. Might have to sort that out in a minute. When we've got a moment of rest, I'll come back to that. Right. Butter. For those missed the start of that, I've just peeled, cored some apples. Now we're going to make crumble topping, which is basically flour, sugar and butter. I'm just reminding myself of the ratios. I have one saved down. And guess what? It's Delia's. 75 grams of butter. That's going to be more than that, but I've got some more. I'll keep you for later. You'll come in handy. Get another butter. Bit more. Those of you that have just joined us, what are you up to this fine Sunday? More particularly, what are you eating? Have you had something to eat already? Are you going out for dinner? Can you not be bothered today? Are you getting a takeaway? Are you just having pasta and sauce, pot noodle? What are you doing? I love to know what people are eating. Far too much. Come out. A bit more. Perfect. Let's hide that away for a minute. Get that out of the way, get that out of the way. Making a right old mess. Oh, yeah. Right, butter. Now we need some flour and some sugar. Chucky Bloodstorm says hubby is making homemade chicken and chorizo pie. I call that winning. Sounds good to me. Sounds very Sunday as well. I hear Mrs. Handy is making a pie as well, so we've clearly turned a corner weather-wise. $150 grams of sugar going in, brown sugar. But if you don't have brown sugar, it doesn't really matter. I just think it makes a nice dark caramel colour. And flour. About 225. So it's the same as the butter and the sugar combined. Perfect. Out of the way. I think it also helps to add a pinch of salt. And I'm looking for cinnamon. Where are you, cinnamon? Ah, there you are. Because apples got to have cinnamon in it. It's like the law or something. Tiny bit, not much. What, 1/8 of a teaspoon? I don't know. In. Shut that door. Shut that, shut that, shut that. We are ready to whiz up. Phil, it's going to take me about 20 minutes to read this out. Honey and mustard glazed ham, dauphinoise potatoes of exceptional garlickiness, and cauliflower cheese. Loving it. As you say, Mrs. Handy, it's definitely autumn. Hoo, hoo, hoo. Good stuff. I heartily approve. Right. So rather than rub everything together, I'm just getting the machine to do this. It's nearly there. I can see some little bits at the bottom, which I'm just going to encourage. To the top, give it one more spin, and then that's all ready. You've got this lovely sandy-like texture. Phil, have you already eaten that, or is it in the oven waiting to go? Oh, need a blade. That would help. Just compacted it down. Do you know, that'll be mixed enough. It's all good. Pop that there. Just going to shake that over the top. You could also well add, you know, porridge oats, cereal, that sort of thing. Granola would also work really well. That's going to be a touch too much. You're ready and raring to go. Eat about 7. Yeah, we'll be eating about 6:30, I think, today with this. Slightly longer stream than usual. I just felt like doing a roast. I thought, well, I might as well bring you guys along for the ride as well. Just making sure it's in all the gaps. And I've got some nice vanilla ice cream in the freezer to have this with. I will probably put this in when I serve up the rest of dinner so that it takes, well, in fact, I don't know actually, because crumbles are like liquid magma when you get them out of the oven, aren't they? They're like rah, absolutely burning hot. So, you know, having it sit on the side for 20 minutes, half an hour, whilst you get on with it, it's no bad thing. So that's our crumble done. I can just leave that now on the side, ready to bake. Could do with having a little tidy up, and I could probably do with putting those potatoes on now as we get on for 6 o'clock. So I'm going to do that just over there. Let's switch it to that one now. And I'll just pop the potatoes in. You'll probably hear a whole bunch of sizzling. In fact, let's do it here. Let's do the whole show here. Screamingly hot fat. Getting the oven shut again. So one of the things about doing a roast and potatoes in particular is keeping that heat up. This is going to make a load of noise, so excuse me a minute. I always recommend setting the oven temperature higher than you would usually when doing a roast dinner, because quite often the oven's open and close, open and close, open and close. And that temperature keeps dropping down. So I've set mine to like 200, whereas usually it would be like 180, like with everything. I'm just salt and pepper at this stage. About half an hour in, I'm going to turn them, add more flavourings as well. So we'll come back to these. So they're going in just before 5. Top of a super hot oven. Right, so our crumble is done, potatoes are in the oven. Gammon, we could have a look at the gammon, see how he's doing. In fact, I'll bring him over. That's, oh, I need to sort that out in a minute. We're going to have some, be able to pause in a minute, so not that one, that one. Let's bring that slightly over. I've got myself some new pans, brand new pans, first time using. So hopefully they will stand me well. So I'm just going to check this gammon, see how done it is. And you could use a temperature probe for that, no problem. Big fan of temperature probes here. Or I can just put the knife in and see how much resistance there is, and there's not a lot. Do we think it's done? I think it's actually, yeah, I reckon that's done. So that's just a gammon in there with carrot and leek, a few herbs and peppercorns, just simmered for, what's that been? About 2 hours, just under 2 hours, but I think it's done. So what I'm going to do now is just literally leave that to relax in its own juice, heat off, just chilling out. And it's going to make an excellent ham broth, great for pea soups and the like. Let's have a little check of this. Leftover crumble mix. Nice brown sugar flavour, nice and caramelised. Good. Let's get this stuff out of the way for a bit. Tidy up ever so slightly, not too much, let's not go mad. Just give myself some space to work, really. So all the big scary stuff is done. If you're used to cooking a roast, you'll know this, but you know, with roasts, timing is the thing. getting everything going at the right time. So everything is, you know, all coming together. So but don't stress about it. Don't panic if you're not used to roast. What is this? Get off my fingers. Don't panic, right? Because almost everything will be reheated by gravy. You're always saved by gravy. As long as your veg is nice and hot, most people won't ever notice. Potatoes don't go cold for ages, so don't panic about those. Yorkshires go cold very quickly, but you're going to reheat them with gravy, so don't panic about it too much. But you've got to work backwards, right? It's critical path stuff. Meat and the potatoes take the longest, get them on, get them going. So they're all ready to good. What was that from Chucky? I have a roasting dish, I throw everything in and forget about it. One pan roasts are great, really good time savers. One pan roasts are saviours of dinner times, particularly in the week. When this season's Brussels braised with the gammon. I don't think I've ever done that. I've got Brussels today, but I'm just gonna simmer them in the traditional way. You can probably get rid of this. Done its job. So this is the relaxing part of a roast, right? Once potatoes in the oven, you've finally got a bit of time back. So I'm just going to put some things in the cupboard. Get it all tidied away. Have a little tidy up. Don't need my corer anymore, he's going to go in the wash. Hoo-yah! Chucky, you have a beautiful kitchen. I love it, absolutely love it. You know, I designed it myself to do all the things I wanted to do in a kitchen. This is obviously this is a real family kitchen. I'm not in some show home. I'm not in some Airbnb. I'm not in a shed in my garden. Yeah, I just designed this the way I wanted it. I don't show the whole thing usually on film. Obviously this is kind of a galley type area with all this going on. Over there a bit more of a relaxation area with a telly and sofas, and over there a dining table and a storage and ovens over to my right, sink over to my left. And it, for me, works perfectly. Works absolutely perfectly. Got a row of stools there where the camera is, so people can sit there, have breakfast, chat. People do homework there. Yeah, lovely space. We had this done 4 years ago, transformed the use of the house. Became from a very functional room to the heart of the house, I would say. Phil says to put the sprouts in with the gammon when you boil it until they are done. Well, it's missed its window, but I guess I could fish the gammon out shortly once it's had a chance to chill out. And then I'm just going to fix a bit of software. Wait for them to chill out, and then I could reboil it in that stock. I'll probably forget to do that, but it's a good idea. Cupboard space is the thing, Chucky, isn't it? Trying to get enough cupboard space for everything is really difficult. Right, reboil the kettle. A little bit of software has gone kaput. What's happened there? Bear with me 1 second, gang. There we go, that's fixed it. Good, good, good. My router has decided to dish out a separate IP address to my other little tablet that does funky things for me. There, that's good. Right, next, stuffing. Chefs love to make proper stuffing. I don't. I love cheap stuffing that is like sweepings from the floor. I don't know why. I think there's a lot of nostalgia in it. You know, that sage and onion flavour. Can't beat it. So this is a 170 gram packet. I'm going to add about half of it in. Fraction more. Lovely jubbly. Top it over with water, butter, salt and pepper. Some friends and I did taste tests. We do them quite often, where we get a whole bunch of the same thing and semi-blind taste them. And we did it with stuffings, and unanimously, not Spawn, Tesco sage and onion stuffing was voted the best, the tastiest. It is a fraction less seasoning, but it's like a third of the price of Paxo. Paxo, the major stuffing brand in the UK, if you're not aware. Blob of butter over here. Bonk. And water. I'm just going to let that sit for like 15-20 minutes. That only needs about 25 minutes in the oven. Just going to stir that through. Let's give you a better view of that. There'll be little air pockets in here. You can make this in a separate bowl. Some people like to turn it into little balls of stuffing, that way round, and bake them that way. I just like making a little punnet of stuffing and carving a thick slice on the plate. That's what I like. Traditionally served with chicken, but then again, Yorkshire puddings aren't really served with anything other than beef, technically, but I don't care. They're one of the best bits of a roast dinner, I think. Just checking an eye on the time, just gone 5 o'clock. Aiming for about 6:30. That's just about there. Do I need to touch more water? Soften it up a bit. I think that'll be okay. So I'm just going to pop that on the side. And no doubt, because I'm live streaming, I'll forget about it. Forget it exists. Right, pop him in the cupboard. We'll use the other half another day. Don't need these anymore. Very good. Really intrigued by your idea, Phil. I'm just going to wipe this off. It's got a bit of stuffing dust on it. Really intrigued by your idea, Phil, of simmering the sprouts in gammon juice, gammon stock. It's a really good one. Maybe we'll do it in a bit. Right, we've got a bit of space, a bit of breathing time, so I'm going to prep up some veg for dinner, keeping it simple. Reminder for those only just joining us, there's only 3 of us for dinner, so I don't need piles of food, though leftovers are always welcome. Quick round robin around the systems, make sure everything's behaving itself. Very good, very good. Okay. I'm going to make carrots and the sprouts the same size, I think. Need to wash that again because it's covered in that bright red apple juice. Whew. Let's put the cat amongst the pigeons. What's everyone's favourite roast meat? And if you're vegetarian, join in as well. You'd put bacon or pancetta with sprouts, similar idea. I suppose you're right, Phil, and that's often how I cook them. You're right, I often fry them with bacon lardons or similar, particularly at Christmas time, and chestnuts. Yeah. But what's the best roast meat? If you go to a really fancy place and it's a Sunday carvery and they say, we have all the meat, sir. Pheasant and boar, ostrich, whatever you want. And you can choose whatever meat you want for the roast. What do you have? What are you picking? And again, vegetarians, please also tell me what you would choose as a centerpiece of that roast dinner. That bit for me. Oops. Bunch of pops falling out the drawer. All very wibbly wobbly. So carrots done. Let's just give the Brussels some love. I think we need a little bit more over this way, don't we? Make everything a bit more visible on this camera. Just going to halve them up, I think. Won't do all of them, maybe half that packet. Dun, 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 dun. Phil says he'd have roast goose. I'm struggling to remember if I've ever had goose. I'm not sure. Which makes me think I should try it just to be certain. Phil, have you ever cooked roast goose? And if you have, whose recipe did you use? Because I do a lot of research before cooking goose for the first time because it's not cheap. So I'm very interested to know whose recipe I should be looking out for. Let's get rid of a few things. Quick blast of tea. Very, very cold. There you go. Right. I think, how long have the potatoes had? About 15 minutes. I'd like to give them another 5, but I think what I'm going to do is sort out the Yorkshires. So I'm going to try something here. It might all break and see what happens. I'm going to turn a light on over there and I'm going to try and point this little camera, it's a phone actually, at my oven and see if I can get it to look all right. Use your gran's recipe for roast goose and it's a family secret. Oh well, luckily your granny's Delia Smith, so life is easy. Eh? Let's turn that off for a minute while I sort this out. Get that in the right place. How's that? That's not too bad. There's a method to my madness. I know what I'm doing, I think. So I'm going to put Yorkshires in. Yorkshires again can sit quite happily once they're finished and you're going to drown them in gravy. So they can be a little bit cool, it's okay. So I'm going to cook them now. They will probably take, it's a bit early though, isn't it? I'm ready earlier than I would expect. That's the thing. What else we got? Right. Yeah, ready a bit earlier than I expect. So we've got some downtime, which is good. It's a good place to be. This is a good time if you're making a roast. Get everything tidied up, right? Get things away, get a bit of washing on, as in plates and that, and mixing bowls, whatever you've used. Because there's a little flurry right at the end, the sort of last 10-15 minutes when everything's coming together. I could bake the apple crumble, but I don't think I'm going to. I'm going to wait till later. Got potatoes going. Yeah, let's get some time and we'll sort out those potatoes, I think. Moving back to that one for a minute. Keto goose is very fatty. You have to cook it on a rack, make sure you pierce the fat glands behind the legs. Yes, that sounds really familiar now. I think I've seen that on a programme. It'd be like duck, right? Where duck you should sit on a rack, maybe over potatoes, so it all drips down onto the potatoes. I think you've inspired me, Phil. I think I'm going to try and give one a go before Christmas. I won't make it my Christmas meal, but let's give it a go. I'm going to open a window because it's getting quite stuffy in here. Right, potatoes. So, going to get the potatoes out, going to give it a little turn, and also add a few more flavourings at this point. Get things moving. Just protect my board. So these have had about 15 to 20 minutes. I don't want them to settle on the surface because they'll stick. So before they get too comfortable, I'm just going to turn them over very unscientifically. They're going hard, they're forming a skin, a pellicle, technical name for it, on those. Let's add a little bit of thyme to the fat. The thyme is going to flavour the fat and just go throughout. Bash a garlic clove. I would also recommend a little bit of red wine vinegar. Just like a teaspoon. And that sort of sharpness is going to develop into a sweet savouriness by the time they're done. This is the point where you can add all sorts of things, whatever you want. That's going to do it for me. Give that a little shake up. So we've got stuffing is done. Gammon is basically done. Potatoes are done. Cooking, sorry, I should say. Veg is prepped. Crumble's done. We're in good place. We're in a good place. Time for an apple break. And Phil says goose is like a big duck. You can do the potatoes underneath. You said they're great. I've definitely cooked a whole duck before. I'm struggling to remember if I've cooked goose. I'm sure I'd remember if I had. I've cooked a lot of things. So, a bit of apple stuck in the throat there. I'm definitely going to cook that up before Christmas. Maybe October when I've got some time in half term. I know our Lord and Saviour, Auntie Delia, has a great recipe for goose. It's her favourite, so I think I will settle on that one. And I hope it even slightly compares to your Gran's recipe, Phil. Lovely stuff. I've made a right mess. Let's put a few more things away, and we've got some time, literally. Super duper. So let's check a few stats, make sure everything's working as it should. Been going an hour and a quarter. All those boring technical things look good. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Very good. Let's get rid of my rubbish now. Not going to need the peeler again, so let's get rid of that. A few other things out for later. Now chat, where do we stand on gravy? Now, it's very nice to, when you've roasted something in the oven, to use those pan drippings and make a sauce, make a gravy, but I really like Bisto. Again, I think it's a nostalgia thing, like Paxo stuffing, packet stuffing. I think there's something about Bisto gravy, just hits apart, probably reaches deep into childhood. As lovely as it is making a pan gravy out of the drippings and out of the fats and deglazing and adding stock, I really like Bisto, and my family really does as well. It's just one of those things, isn't it? It's a good apple. Tidy up some more of this mess that I'm seeing as I look around. Splendid stuff. Right. So we've done a load of prep. Gammon's ready. The veg is ready. Potatoes are doing their thing. Yorkshires, I'm just holding fire for a few more minutes. Stuffing's ready to go. I think at that point, I'm just going to take a quick break just to sort my life out, get a few things tidy. So feel free to grab yourself a drink, and I'll see you in just a couple of minutes. we're back. Just sorted a few things out. Phil, I've missed a couple of messages from you. So you wouldn't have gravy with gammon. That's why I've been cauliflowers and definitely. I totally understand and respect that. I think that's totally fine. And I do understand, but my family loves gravy too much. Can't not do it. But in general, you love gravy. Always gravy, never as you. Spoken like a true Midlander. Every time I clean up, I spot a bit more of this apple juice just everywhere. But thank you for those tuning in. Good to see you, good to hang out. I was going to make the roast anyway. It's just a good excuse to say hi to people. So yeah, nice to see you all. I think we might attempt the Yorkshire pudding thing. Let me just move some cameras around. Right, let's try that. How does that work? Oh yeah, good. So there we go. Let's let's get the Yorkshires out. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it. I figure it's better than just looking at empty kitchen. So bring that over. Just going to rest it because my hand's getting hot. Just spreading out this batter. So we've got enough for 2 each. There we go, it's all going back in. That's done. Crazy Chris, hello, hope you're well. Chris, nice to see you. How are you doing today? Just get some stuff out of the way, tidy up a little bit. Yes, thank you for joining us. Yes, all good. We've got some roast gammon that's done. We're doing some roast potatoes. That was Yorkshire puddings going in the oven. Hot oven, about 210 Cs, a little bit over 400 Fahrenheit, 420 I think. And the important thing is with Yorkshire puddings, once you put them in there, just leave them alone. Don't open them until they're well risen and browned. If you open the oven before then, it creates some kind of weird heat destabilizations. Yeah, so maybe we'll have a look at the gammon in a minute, see how that's doing. It is finished cooking, but it'd be nice to have a look at it and check how it is. Chris, what are you up to today? Have you been, have you eaten already? Are you going to have dinner? Are you having a takeaway? You're not bothered? You go around someone's house? What's going on? Always nice to hear what people are eating at any given point. I'm just going to wash this knife while I have a moment. Going to give it a quick sharpen. Chris says he's making tea, been making a cake with my little girl. That is the stuff Sundays are made of, right? A little home family baking. What's for tea tonight? And there's no snobbery here. Whatever you're having is all good with me. I'm no stranger to just grabbing stuff out the freezer on certain days. Equally, we have good days where we talk about roasting goose, which we were just talking about 10 minutes ago. No roast goose today, but something I want to try, so I'll stick it on the list. Let's manoeuvre this camera back over as well. just going to pop you on mute for a second. I'm just going to let my cat out. And we should be back. Chris says, American style chicken schnitzel sando with caramelised onions and apple slaw and fries. Wow. Love it. Love it, mate. Is this just good old white bread? We're sticking that in. I love a coleslaw as well. Really underrated. I think we had years of just being served those beige yellow pots of stuff which are just kind of taste of vinegar. And in burger buns, perfect. You're hanging on to the idea that it's summer, right? It sort of feels quite summery and bright, that meal. Hanging on to the idea of it. But it's nice to keep on it. We were talking earlier with other chats about how it very much feels autumnal. Certainly in the UK, I'm in the east of England, in Essex. Not quite sure where you are. I'm guessing you're not American because you called it American style. So I'd be interested to know whereabouts in the world you are. Not trying to dox you, just interested. And you have a chocolate and cinnamon cake cooking. We have a crumble we made earlier. It was one of the things we made while we were waiting for other things to cook. With apples from the garden and some frozen cherries. A typical crumble topping. Just going to open the window a bit more. In the Birmingham area, we're well served by the Midlands on this stream. I believe Phil, who's been popping in and out, is also not in Birmingham, but he's in the Midlands. So, a lot of good folk from the Midlands on this stream, I find. I don't quite know why, but it's good to have you all. I was watching some of GeoWizard's videos last week, the one where he crosses Birmingham, not using roads. Made me think of it last week. Funny guy. Funny guy. Right, I think I'm going to manoeuvre some cameras and we'll have another look at the potatoes, which will have been in for about just over half an hour at this point. Just getting the camera in the right place. Make sure it's all in. It's feeling a bit wobbly. There we go, that seems to have settled down. Very good. Right, let's get some potatoes. And they are starting to colour. Nowhere near what I want them to be yet. They're sort of a pale yellow, the occasional crispy orange bit. See, I told you the Midlanders were out in force. Phil comes along and says East Midlands represent YouTube and Twitch chat. You can't see each other, but Phil over on YouTube says East Midlands, says he lives near Lincoln. Holidayed in Lincoln about 6 years ago. Lovely, lovely time we had all around the cathedral, up that crazy steep hill. Stayed in a fantastic barn. It was really good. Good holiday. Ooh, just fishing out some of those thyme twigs so we don't have to pick them out of our teeth later. So there'll be at least another 20 minutes, if not longer. Now usually when you're making roast dinner, everything runs late, but actually we're running really early today. And the thing is, We can't even serve early because one of the members of the house are out until 6:30. So it's not like I can just plate it when it's ready. But I might do that for you guys. And then we can have the dinner properly later. Chris, you look yummy. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, they look good. The Yorkshires are coming up. I think I might fling the camera over to them in a moment so you can see how they're rising. Let me just position that and you can have a look. Let's switch to the S8 over there. Oh, you can't quite see very much. It's very reflective. Oh, there's... Sorry, phone's being weird. You can just about make the Yorkshires rising up there. There we go. You can just about make out the Yorkshires coming up. Phil, we are good at naming roads in Lincoln. Is there a hill? Is it steep? Let's call it Steep Hill. Indeed, yes, I remember it well. At least you know what it is when you see it on the map. Yes. And the cathedral was lovely. Always love visiting a cathedral wherever we are, particularly around the UK. We've got a good line in cathedrals. We really know what we're doing when it comes to cathedrals. Not a lot else, but with cathedrals, yeah, we know what we're doing. Or maybe we knew what we were doing 800 years ago when they were built, I don't know. You see me flicking around, I often just check various statistic pages to make sure things are still live. It's a bit, it can be sort of, I don't know, bit, you can't really tell everything that's going on straight away. I certainly can't fit it all on one screen. So just one of those things. Yep, just checking. All very good. Yep, tick, tick, tick. That's what I like to see. Right. So many things prepped. I'm just not used to it. Let's have a look at the gammon. The gammon simmered for a little under 2 hours. About 2 hours. It's only a 500 gram gammon, quite a small one. So, let's fish him out, have a look, see how he's getting on. I've turned the heat off now because it was quite tender. If I'm perfectly honest with you, if I was just doing this normally, I wouldn't touch this gammon. But I thought we'd explore it while you guys are here. Let's pop the little other camera on. Let's switch to that. Lovely. Not everything's in the right place, is it? You need to go more over here, more like that, more like that, bit like that, bit that. There we go, that's a bit better. See a bit more of what's going on. So there's our joint of gammon, a few peppercorns stuck to it. Let's pull off a slice. Phil says 1,000-ish years ago, Lincoln Cathedral was built. Yeah, they all went mad for it in like the 11th century, didn't they? All the cathedrals. It used to be the tallest man-made building in the world. I think I'd forgotten that fact. So again, those of you not used to gammon, if you're from the other side of the world, here we go. It's a cut of pork, usually from the leg, that just is cured. Let's try a bit. Very strong porky flavour, where it's been cured and smoked. Lovely. I'm going to drain this off so I can use this stock for something else another day, and then store the gammon back in the pot so that it can stay warm. So what should we strain it off with? Let's use this handy collection of bowls. Just retaining all that stock juice for another day. Sorry if you hate scraping noises. So, about 600, 700 mils, lovely gammon stock there. I'm going to leave that in there to relax. And as it cools, it's going to sort of shrink down, not shrink down, it's going to open up and allow all the juices back in. Have a peep over at the Yorkshires, rising nicely. So the Yorkshires have approximately trebled in height, and if I keep it at this height, they're going to burn before they're ready. So I'm now going to turn down the temperature to about 180, about 350 Fahrenheit, so that they can just continue cooking now that they've had that pop, that rise. So it's just going to continue cooking now. Right, Hydrolythe, haven't seen you around for a while. Haven't been around for long enough to taste Sunday roast, by which the dish looks a bit like pot au feu or Alsatian sauerkraut. Yes, I mean, it's just a method of cooking gammon. I'm not actually using the vegetables, they're being discarded. I was just about to do that before you jumped on, actually. It's just a cooking liquor that I will save and use tomorrow or the day after in something else. Yeah, so that's just convenience. I've made quite a few gammon recipes on my YouTube channel, and what I usually do is after that is then create a glaze for them. So put them in the oven along with usually something sticky and syrupy, e.g. cherries, honey, maple syrup, mustard, cider. Make these things into a glaze and then baste it over the meat continually so that it's forming like a shell, a film over that meat. It just gives you another layer of flavour to add on to there. So that's really tasty. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop you on mute for a minute while I get rid of that waste veg, because I don't have room in my green bin. So I'm just going to pop that in my recycling bin. I'll be right with you. Ganja time, thank you. Nice to see you. What's the score here, fellas? Well, I've been making a Sunday roast, and I found myself in a nice chill place because my vegetables are all prepped. My gammon is cooked. It's behind me in that pot, just chilling out. I've made some stuffing. Potatoes are maybe 2/3 done. My Yorkshire pudding's very nearly done as well. So yeah, it's all very nearly done. Just everything coming together, keeping it all nice and laid back. What are you up to, Ganja time? What have you been doing today? Are you doing anything? Chilling out? What are you eating in particular? Are you having a takeaway? Are you ordering in? Are you going out? Are you not bothering? Are you just having toast? What are you doing? So I'm going to add my stuffing into the oven now. I think we'll probably do another look at the potatoes as well. It's just, Chris is having a tea now. Good to see you again, Chris, which sounds amazing. I'd love to see it. But I have a method for you, you sending me a message. But sounds like a great little sandwich you're having there. Little sandwich, that's not very fair, is it? Ganja time, just a banana. Cool. One of the most complete foods you can have, I believe. Let's do this, and let's bring back the potatoes. We'll have another look. I'm not happy with this angle today. I can't get it right. That? I don't know. Maybe like that? I need to fiddle with this off streaming. Find a position I'm happy with. I mean, you don't really want to see my keyboard, do you? No need to see that. Keep it on the food. Anyway, let's go and get potatoes and have a look. So, for those of you that missed it, we parboiled these for about 10 minutes in heavily salted water. And then we've been roasting them in olive oil, a little garlic, a little thyme. Just turning it as often as I can, just to make sure all the sides are hitting contact with the metal, because it's the contact with the metal that gives you that roasting. Let me fish one out there. Don't do this at home. There's a little dude there, lovely corners. You can see all that bubbling and cracking where the edges have been roughed up a bit. Another thing you can do at this point, if you want to, perhaps using a potato masher, you could just slightly press down on the big boys. And what happens there? Well, the surface starts to break, and therefore you can, that's another area, another piece of surface area where potato can hit contact with the pan and start to really crisp up. Just fishing out a few thyme twigs because I know that's going to annoy some of my family later. Good. At least another 20 minutes on those, probably 25. And obviously, if dinner was ready, you could absolutely eat those right now. They'd be delicious, really, really good. Particularly with a gravy or some other sauce. But I like to push them quite far so they're really crunchy, because I love that contrast of crunchy and soft that you get with a really good potato. Just going to inspect the Yorkshire puddings because I think they're stable enough that I can open the oven now. Let's pop you back on, in fact do that. So there's my Yorkshires. What a Yorkshire pudding recipe will really show you is the relative strengths of your oven. So what that's saying is, I put them into the oven this way, that my oven is the hottest here, the centre in the middle, and that's where the fan is. So the back row, look at the rise on that boy. Meanwhile, these ones at the front, perfectly good, very, very tasty, but they're just not hitting that rise. They're just not rising. That's a perfect cup one, like one you'd get out of Aunt Bessie's, right? Perfect for filling with gravy. Yeah, so I'm really chuffed with them. I'm just levering them out of the pan because they're ready now. I'm going to leave them back in the oven just with the oven turned off now. They don't need to do any more cooking, but that will just keep them warm enough. We'll top them off with gravy, but yeah, I'm happy with those. 99 times out of 100, my Yorkshires come out great. Very, very rarely a few of them fail, and that's fine. And I was hoping they wouldn't do it today when we're on a live stream. So yeah, they're good. Good batch. So they're just chilling out in a hot oven now. No further cooking. The proper plural form is Yorkshire puddings is. Well, if you're Gollum, maybe, yes. Thank you, Chris. I think they look good. Yes, pleased with those. Right. I can probably turn that off for a minute. Yeah, again, we find ourselves at a place where everything's nice and chill. We're all ready to go. Just hanging on for our Yorkshire puddings now. Yeah. Something out for later. Anything to go with that banana? Ganja time? Well, it's just started to rain here down in Essex. It's been an okay day. It's just started to rain now. I've got the back door open because it is quite warm where I'm doing a roast. But it's now raining out in the garden. Bit sad. Never mind. At least it was in the evening, not during the day. Right, I'm just going to inspect things in the oven. Carry on chatting amongst yourselves. Jolly good. Sipping on an iced coffee. You're living the dream, aren't you? Iced coffee and banana. Keeping it real. Okay, just investigating all the different things, making sure everything's working, behaving as it should. And because this is my real kitchen, every time I want to go live, I have to bring a whole load of equipment down here into the kitchen, set it all up, and then I'm always conscious that I've forgotten something. Have I forgotten to plug something in? Is something not enabled? Is something not started? Today, for example, at the very start of the stream, I'd left the YouTube stream unlisted, which means you could only find it if you knew the link. There's so many things to think about when going live. So if you see me crazily, moving around, trying to figure out what's going on, that's usually what I'm doing. Just checking on things, making sure they're all right. Did I devour the apple crisp before it even hit the table? No, it's here. Try and get it. Let's pop the camera on. It's going to go in the oven shortly so that it'll be ready just after everything else is done. I might put it in now actually, get it going, because there's no harm in that taking a little bit longer and just sitting on the side, chilling out. We'll see. So I'll pop that on at 6 o'clock, I think. So it's just doing its thing while we're eating. I always find it interesting, that phrase apple crisp, and how we've developed the phrase apple crumble. Crumble just sounds so British, doesn't it? Taking the opportunity to put a few things away. Highly appropriate for the seasonal transition. Yeah, I think that's kind of the theme of the whole stream, right? I wouldn't usually have a dinner like this till the weather turned a bit cooler. Which it is. It's about 14 degrees C. I think that's 60-ish Fahrenheit, something like that, late 50s, early 60s. And it's just started raining today. Just now, sorry. The evenings are getting darker. It's certainly cooler in the evening. So a roast dinner seems appropriate, as does having apple crumble with apples that came out of the garden. So everything fully feeling right for the seasons, let's say that. It's the right thing. Phil over on YouTube says apple crumble describes it perfectly. It's apple and crumble. Exactly. When I hear apple crisp, I think, oh, that sounds like a breakfast cereal. It's like, tasty. But yeah, you can't beat a crumble, can you? Just going to check for some updates. So, just coming up on 6 o'clock. Aiming for a 6:30 plating, which probably means it's going to be late because I'm stood here right now going, hey, it's fine. Hydrolite says you're waiting for polenta to rise. What do you mean by rise? The only times of, it's a polenta cake. Usually when I think of polenta, I think of like the block or the kind of soupy, starchy nature you make with it. What do you mean by rise in polenta? It's becoming quite common, sort of common, when you go to cafes to see an orange or lemon and polenta cake, and I really like those. I often choose one. Did I use beef dripping for the Yorkshires, Ganja? No, I didn't. Just olive oil today. Have I got any? I don't think I've got beef dripping. I've got some lard. Billy Pitu 678 followed the channel. Thanks for following, Billy. Thanks very much. Nice to see you. Over on Twitch. No, I didn't use beef dripping. Just because it's a bit of a pain to work with sometimes. I've always got olive oil. Means I don't have to find anything special. You can't beat a crumble, says Phil on YouTube, but you have to have cold sauce or ice cream. Spot on. So, Phil, I've got a tub of Haagen-Dazs vanilla to go with the crumble, which we will have. Granger Time says, I use avocado oil once because I couldn't find beef dripping or even tallow. I thought tallow was beef dripping. Correct me if I'm wrong. And you've heard you can use bacon grease. Yeah, you can use any fat you want, really. Just olive oil is stable at lots of temperatures, and I've always got it on hand. I was explaining it earlier when I was making them, that I find you might as well just use olive oil, because it's going to be, well, the way I have them, they're going to be dense with so many other flavours that there's no point doing anything fancy there. You're just not going to taste it with everything else that's going on the plate. Maybe I'm wrong and I'm unsophisticated. Yeah. Beef dripping is fine, and obviously traditionally that was used because you were using last week's beef dripping from the previous roast that would go and make the Yorkshire for this week. So it's just a byproduct of a different time. Very tasty, but yeah. Hydrolyze says, it's a dish from my French cookbook that is called La Polenta Crustillante. Crustillante? Crustillante, aka crusty polenta. I've never heard of this, and I'm also struggling to visualise it. Is it made like a slab of polenta? No, you make for Italian recipes where you beat it up and then let it set. When you say you're waiting for it to rise, that's what's blowing my mind. What is it? What is rising in it? Fascinated. Chris, can you have apple crumble, please, with ice cream? There should be enough if you pop round. The round trip from Birmingham is about 3 hours. Sorry, no, the one-way trip is about 3 hours from where I am, 2.5, 3 hours. Hydrolyze. I'm waiting for an hour and a half. I'll put it in flour, eggs and breadcrumbs to fry it. Right, so I've made fried polenta before. I've never seen it in French cookery. That's fascinating. I've only ever connected it with Italian cooking. That's really interesting. Are you having it with a sauce, like a tomatoey sauce, or because it's relatively bland on its own? Ganja Time says, I think they may be the same. Yeah, I think tallow is beef dripping. Tallow is more a phrase used in the States than it is over here, but it's starting to be used over here because of American programs, I think. We would just say dripping. Certainly my parents' generation would say dripping, and it's implied that it's beef. Chris, if you leave now, yep, traffic should be all right. 6 o'clock on a Sunday evening, so you should make good time. There's plenty, mate. Like I say, there's only 3 of us having it tonight, so you'd get a good quarter out of that, couldn't you? Balance it on your knees while you're driving. Don't do that, kids. Right, another look at those potatoes, I think. Now they're starting to get where I want them. Donk. What is it annoying people on YouTube do? They do this, don't they? Just to prove it's dried out. The old fork test. Again, perfectly good to save and serve at this point. Perfectly golden yellow, lovely savoury brown colour. But again, I'm perfectly happy to push it a tiny bit more. Let's actually grab one. And see how that is. We'll try that in just a second. I'm going to chuck the apple crumble in now as well. And I'm just going to reboil the kettle, ready for other things in a minute. I just noticed there's bits of apple all over the floor. Oh. Yep, those potatoes are coming along good. Let's go back to this. So remember our potato from earlier? Can I get a good focus on it? Gosh, the Ninja is so cosy. What do you mean? Cozy. Phil says I'm the master of potatoes, but the roasties look good. Yeah, and they are good today. You just need the merest pinch of salt, which obviously I'll add to the whole batch when they're done. The Ninja sound, yeah. I've always been a Sage / Breville guy, hence the coffee machine, the toaster and the kitchen whiz we saw earlier. But I have to admit it, a lot of the Ninja gadgets are really good. I thought they were a bit of a gimmick, but yeah. They're really close to perfect. But that extra, you know, the next 15 minutes will be the making of them. That's where they'll go from good to great. So all we've got left to do, apart from a few things finishing in the oven, what kind of spuds were they? They were Maris Piper potatoes. There's been a lot of developments in potato farming the last 20 years, and generally most floury potatoes work really well, and it comes down to a personal preference. I've always liked Maris Piper. I like the earthy flavour. And their ability to hold their shape but still crust at the edges that really makes them, I think. So a lot of floury potatoes are good now. I think over your side of the pond, Danger Time, is Yukon Gold's Russet Burbanks, I think, are the ones usually recommended by American chefs. But Maris Piper is the king over here. In fact, that segues nicely into what I've been doing over on YouTube lately. If you've caught up with my latest YouTube videos, there have been stuff about Delia Smith, and Delia Smith popularised the Maris Piper over in the UK. She really sent everything bananas with Maris Piper when she said that's the potato to use, and now it's like the standard floury potato in the UK. I've never heard of that cultivar. Yeah, it's very easy to find in Britain in every single supermarket for the reasons I just said, popularised by Delia Smith, the home cook and chef. And as far as I know, not really available in the US, but you've got loads of your own varieties that do great jobs. It's all good. Delia Smith's book is just there, by the way, How to Cook, Part 1. Hydrolyte says it's been difficult to make potatoes that are crisp. Really? What has been the struggle? Because I find, well, you know, I've made a lot of them. I think you do need to tenderise them in water first, and then keep the heat really high. And you've got to have enough fat to create that thing. Mashed potato is something I'm much better at, but I always feel embarrassed by how much butter I add. It's not like you're the only person doing it, Hydrolythe. We all go mad with our butter in our mashed potato. We always think, oh, that's probably too much, and then actually really enjoy it. And nearly, I thought about it just then, when I last got those potatoes out, what I sometimes do, but I don't fancy it today, is I will add some more fat at that last 15-minute stage. Maybe butter, maybe beef dripping, maybe lard, whatever I've got around, particularly if it suits the meat. I'll add that last 15 minutes, and you get this last coating of potatoes. It's not enough to prevent the crusting, to prevent the crunching, but by adding that fat at the last minute, everything gets super tasty. Phil Tutty, you're a King Edward potato man. Yep, I fully respect that. They work great too. You know, any floury potato works really well, and it's just then comes down to personal preference. Maris Piper is very nice, yeah. I've almost always got Maris Pipers in the cupboard. Oh, so you've seen others of my videos, Ganger Time. Too much butter. Marco enters the chat. Oh, really? Yeah. Yes, quite. The amount of butter I've consumed doing Marco's recipes over the last couple of years is a bit too much, to be honest. Right, let's get a little pan out. We'll use this one. We'll use this one. And that can be for our veg in a minute. Just bring that back up to boiling. Ganja time, you'll be pleased to know I'm about to make the ninja noise again. It's quite genius, really, to get that noise ingrained in your brain. I think all their gadgets do it. Certainly all the ones I've used have. It's getting a bit darker now. 6:10. Marco doesn't do mashed potato, says Phil. He does mashed butter with a hint of potato. More accurate than you know. There's a French mashed potato recipe called aligot, which is essentially butter with potato. Butter and cream, I think, and potato. And it's more like a thick sauce than like potato sauce than it is mash. Classic French cuisine, really. Hydrolyze, how's that polenta coming along? Is that still going well? I'm still fascinated by that. Got some people doing some good stuff in chat. Really interesting food going on. We had Crazy Chris with his crispy chicken sandwich with apple slaw. Sounded fantastic. Phil, not long to your tea time. And you're doing your dauphinoise and your cauliflower cheese. Sounds lovely. Had a nice chicken and chorizo pie as well from someone earlier. That's coming up to boil. That's good. It was good, was it, Chris? It sounded good. Just for the description, I thought, genuinely, if I saw that on the menu, I'd probably order it. But if I was somewhere, you know, a nice cafe, a diner type place, I'd be like, yeah, hit me up. I'll have that. Sounds good, mate. Well done. Right, I think the stuffing will be done. Anybody remember the stuffing? It was a long time ago. Phil, even your description of that dish has made your arteries harden. Yes, it was good. It was good though. It sounded good. I wish I could see a picture of it. Chris says you're going to make your custard now. Have your chocolate and cinnamon cake. Sounds very good. Hydrolyze and his polenta. You've got to wait 45 minutes. Oh, agony, agony. Well, there's our stuffing. Not sophisticated, but I think an essential part of a roast dinner. I think we'll start bringing the gammon out soon, carving that so it's ready. I'm going to start manoeuvring a few things for space. I've got plates and knives over here, so I'm just going to get those ready. Hydrolyze, I don't know if I missed the message, but I was interested to know what that polenta was served with. I just can't wrap my head around it, mate. It's really interesting. I'd love to know the full thing. I will look up that French dish name that you said earlier. knock that down a little bit. And we're going to add the Marco Special to our vegetable water. Why, what is this? It's a little Knorr stock cube. Yay! Still keeping the faith. Oops. Just crumbling that into the vegetable water. Just to make life interesting. Ganja Time says he's going to check the Delia series after this. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoy it. Hydrolyze says, it says in the tips section that usually something serves as an accompaniment to other dishes. I mean, it doesn't sound like a meal in itself. It does sound like a side dish. Still, very interesting. Excuse me. That a minute to dissolve. I've sold out, yeah. I'm after that Knorr money, mate. Knorr money, no problems. I did actually work with Knorr many years. I say work with Knorr, it was a very loose relationship. They sent me a bunch of stock cubes a long time ago. Good products, what can I say? There's no finally selling out about it. Phil's just looked up aligot. It has cheese in it as well as cream and butter with potatoes, just to give it that hint of healthiness, yes. Yeah, you see what I mean though, it's more of a sauce than it is a mashed potato dish. Like a slick potato sauce. I think actually this is going to fall apart a bit, but it's okay. Hydrolyze says, you're starting to make my stock with the remainder of chicken bones. I'm like, yeah, and I absolutely do that, but it sort of depends on what's been going on in my house in the past couple of weeks. You know, I do keep a freezer bag in the freezer of little bits and bobs that I would put into a stock as and when, but just haven't had anything lately. One time I accidentally demanded lamb bones from the butcher that he gave me for free, so I had to make a stock out of it. Yeah, I bet that was lovely and rich, wasn't it? Hydrolyze, I forget, are you in the UK? If you told me before, I forget, sorry. I'm trying to keep track of everyone. Where do you think you're going? Getting to the skinny end now, a little harder to carve. You're in Belgium, apologies. I was going to name check a UK supermarket that is very good for giving you the bits and bobs. That's Morrison's for those of you in the UK. They've always got bones and things like lamb breast and the other slightly odd cuts you don't get elsewhere. Phil says aligot looks like you could have it as a chaser. It looks so creamy. Yeah, like I said, it's more of a sauce than it is a mashed potato. Hydrolyze, it's probably a 1 hour time difference. Yes, in a few weeks' time we'll be changing our clocks away from British summertime and it'll all get messed up again. I'm sure you'll be changing yours as well in the next few weeks. Hydrolyze, do you know the channel History in Taberna? If you don't, I'd recommend you check him out. A very technical channel about the history of food, but with lots of humour. And the other reason I mention it, I've got to be honest, is because he's Belgian. He's based in the UK, but he's a Belgian, so I thought you might want to support a fellow countryman. And pleased to say, good friend of mine, good guy, good guy. There's our meat. Let's pop that on a nice plate. There's all the gammon. That's a 500 gram piece of gammon, so quite small, but it's only got to serve a couple of us, and if we've got a few leftovers tomorrow, that's even better. Just going to get a bit of, let me go find it for you. I don't think I've ever done this before. Let's see what happens if I paste it in here and send that to YouTube. There we go. Follow that link. And anyone who's interested in food more generally, I'd recommend his channel. Put the veg in, bring the heat back up. Lots of fun, lots of good channel. Lots of good channel. That was well said. Going to cover that over for a minute, just keep it warm. Out the way. Right, let's just scrape up these bits of gammon. Right, I reckon potatoes will be done. There we go. Here's our pots, and yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. Lovely even colouring of golden brown all over. So I'm going to transfer those to another dish now. I'm going to use a slotted spoon for that because I don't want to take too much of the extra fat with me. You can hear the noise they're making, right? Like pebbles. And that is exactly how I like my roast potatoes. You may like them done a little bit less. It's your call, just pull them earlier. That's how you do it. And I just need a little finish of salt. Which is, of course, as you'll know, if you've watched this channel for any length of time, Maldon sea salt from just down the road in Maldon. Pop this out of the way for a minute. I'm going to have this little crunchy boy over here, because it's not really potato anymore. Yeah. Yep, that is it. Vegetables not quite there yet, they're going to need another couple of minutes. So we are really nearly there. I'll leave them back on so you can have a look at some potatoes while we finish plating up. Well, we're reaching the climax of the stream, ladies and gents. Checking what's going on. Very good. As I said, we are reaching the climax of the stream. The apple crumble is very nearly done. I'll fetch that over so you can have a look at it. It doesn't actually colour much. Let me show you. Bring it over. So I don't think it's going to come out on camera, but it's got quite biscuity at the edges there. So, oh, poked a little hole in. You can have a look. There's still a tiny bit of resistance, so it's going to need at least another 10 minutes. Very difficult to overcook, particularly if you're then going to serve it with ice cream. One more check on the veg. Oh, it's close, it's close. Still a little bit al dente. Crash. So obviously that crumble is going to be ready in about 10 minutes or so. Difficult to overcook, very nearly, very easy to throw on the floor. Yes, thankfully it went that way, not this way. Again, one of those things a million times easier to do when you're not talking to a camera. Yeah, obviously that crumble isn't going to be quite finished during the lifetime of this stream, but I will post it on my community page for YouTube. And we'll see what happens then. Oh, I was getting weird error messages that YouTube was having a moment. I hope everything came through okay, but you didn't miss anything. I was just checking the crumble. Oh, I think we might have had a blip in the network because Twitch is also saying something similar. Thank you, Phil. Really good for you to hang out. I assume you're off to go and finish off your dinner, which sounds terrific. Well done there. Not long. Obviously, you've seen all the components. I'm sure you can guess what the whole thing looks like on a plate. But I will post pictures of the final dishes on Discord, not on Discord, on the community page of my YouTube channel, so you can all take a look at it. Thanks, Phil. Have a good evening. I'll speak to you soon. Again, I hope you're all still out there because everything's behaving a bit weird. My end. Twitch in particular looks like it's having a bad day at the office. Okay, one more check of the veg. I reckon that's going to be ready. Yeah, that's really good. That's there. Tutty bye, Phil. Good to see you. Yep, hope it's all still going out because I am getting weird messages on my screen about it perhaps isn't behaving itself. So I'm going to make up a plate really quickly. Let's finish up with one more bit of boiling. We'll drain off the veg. No idea if we're still streaming. I think we are. I think my software is doing what it's supposed to, but again, getting some confusing messages about whether it's going or not. So let's quickly knock up a plate of food. And we'll finish it off there. That's all connected. Very good. Right, let's bring up a plate. Let's go. If there is anyone out there still watching, I'd love to hear from you because I'm getting very confusing messages from my systems whether it's still streaming or not. Even if it's just to say hi or yes. So our potatoes. A few pieces of veg. Just kept those nice and simple. Oh good, thank you Hydrolythe. As I said, my system was saying, yeah, this is all going wrong now. And it coincided with people stopping chatting, which is totally fine. You don't have to chat, but it was a bit off-putting. Little plob. Just layer on some of this gammon. And if you recall, there was one other thing. That's our Yorkshire pudding. And there we go. That's my roast start to finish, all 2.5 hours of the stream. Apple crumble still in the oven, just for a few more minutes just to finish off. So we've got everything there. And finally, just a little splash of gravy to taste. I'll add more later. It's just for the aesthetics. Let me just do that for a moment so you can see the whole thing. Nice to do a roast there. Perfect. Well, let's call that a meal there. All my favourite things, get my family ready and we can all have dinner. It's been wonderful hanging out with you this evening. As I said, more photos of this will go onto the page later on. I'm hoping Twitch is still alive. If it is or it isn't. No, it's misbehaving itself. In which case, thank you all for hanging out with me this afternoon. It's been great fun. I'm going to go and eat this. You enjoy the rest of your day. I'll catch you all very soon. Bye-bye.